Good afternoon to you. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, here with your Hurricane Pro and HD video discussion for the 29th of May 2017. The first stop on today's tour across what's happening in the tropics, or the lack thereof. Sea surface temperature anomalies. I think you notice pretty easily that we have a fairly warm tropical Atlantic, especially compared to what it has been in recent years. And on the opposite end of the scale, the Pacific here, pretty much neutral. So yeah, we've got a very warm Atlantic over here, colder than normal in the subtropics, and all that basically means we're setting up for probably a busy hurricane season for the Atlantic. So I certainly hope people are ready. You got to be ready in any year. I know you hear that all the time, but when there's the potential for more activity, I guess it should heighten the awareness a little bit more, right? In the what do you call this? Not the subtropical Pacific, but off the coast of Mexico is what I'm trying to say. This is interesting because this is colder than we've seen it in recent years. And, you get hurricanes developing down here, and they try to move up in this direction. And I'll show you in a minute via a satellite photo. This area is really not favorable at all for development. And a part of that is because of this colder anomaly. The Gulf of Mexico, the actual sea surface temperatures, pretty much everything except this area that I'm outlining is 80 degrees Fahrenheit or 26 Celsius or higher. In fact, some of the water temperatures down here off the coast of Florida in the mid to upper 80s. That's just yuck. You go to the beach to cool off, right? So yeah, some of this water is very warm. Even off the coast of the Yucatan Peninsula here on the west side, we're looking at 30 Celsius, 86, 87 degrees Fahrenheit. That's pretty warm. In the Atlantic, for folks off the coast of New Jersey as an example, water temperatures here are still in the upper 50s, maybe the lower 60s. However, down in the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida along the East Coast, water temperatures in the upper 70s to about 80, 81 degrees. So everything's progressing nicely as we approach the start of the hurricane season for the Atlantic, which of course begins on June 1st. And of course the upper ocean heat content will visit this map every once in a while throughout the season, and you'll see these colors here expand with time. The Gulf will fill in, and this is just a measurement of how much energy resides in the upper part of the ocean, not just the skin right on the surface where we can go swimming. For example, yeah, it might be 80 degrees on the surface, but how deep does that warm water extend? And this particular graphic shows that via the color scale over here. So the higher up the scale you go, indicated by more colors on the map, then there is more upper ocean heat content for tropical systems, especially hurricanes, to take advantage of. Also, it's interesting to note that the instability in the deep tropics, the ability of the atmosphere to create thunderstorms, is one way to look at it. Right where it should be for this time of year. We are approaching June here, and the last few years it's been below normal, a lot like you see here this past winter. But recently, once we got through the last part of April, with only one exception here, the values have been right up near normal, and in a couple of cases above normal. And that's a big change over the last few years. So we'll see if this holds, or if it's going to be another indication of a busy season ahead. Is it going to be busy anytime soon? Well, this is the outline of the U.S. right here, just to show you. Gulf of Mexico, Central America, and South America. And these wind barbs here are all coming across as such, moving from generally west to east, as you can see, and that is not good for tropical development. And we really wouldn't expect it to be, not this time of year, but I thought I'd at least point it out. And looking at the satellite shot, the deep tropics out here, pretty stable overall, no tropical waves, maybe some wave energy here, but nothing that looks like it'll develop anytime soon. We will be keeping an eye on this feature, some energy that moved off the Texas coast, a mesoscale convective system, just a large area of thunderstorms and maybe a surface trough of low pressure, or an area of convergence trying to maybe develop here sometime over the next few days. Would more than likely be a rainmaker with some gusty winds than anything concentrated and nothing to really worry about outside of very heavy rain, which in and of itself, of course, can be problematic. So we'll keep an eye on that. And this is what I was talking about, that cold water anomaly kind of doing its work here, reflecting in the stability of the atmosphere above the ocean. All of these grayish clouds, white milky clouds you see here, indicating a very stable atmosphere. So you're not going to get any development. You know, you think about hurricanes that, as I mentioned, that can get going down in the tropics here and move their way up towards the Baja, and you remember Odile and other ones, Norbert, in recent years that come up this way. Well, with the look of it like it is now, with all this stable air, no, nothing's going to happen anytime soon. And if you have plans to visit Hawaii, no issues out your way. And in fact, the intertropical convergence zone down here, where the trades from the northern hemisphere meet the trades from the southern hemisphere, usually have some upward motion down there because of that, or convergence. And even that's just about as flat as it could be. So no development anywhere anytime soon of any significance, it doesn't look like. So that brings me to Thursday. You folks on Hurricane Pro and HD and elsewhere out there in the hurricane internet world, tune in if you have nothing else to do on Thursday evening. 7 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm going to have a special broadcast, just a way for me to sort of introduce you to what we do, some of the technology we use to cover hurricanes in the field, how that's evolved over the years, and some of the amazing advancements we've made. Plus, I look at the different forecasts from NOAA, for example, to Colorado State University, and others that produce hurricane seasonal forecasting each year, and the value of it, what we can learn from it. Some people just assume we don't have them, and other people kind of hinge on every word that's said. So we'll break it all down, plus a few tips to get you ready for hurricane season, because it's coming June 1st, and it lasts for 6 months, ending November 30th. So tune in our YouTube channel. I'll put the links up on Twitter. If you're not following me on Twitter, I'm at Hurricane Track, and I'm sure that we can get something put into the app here, Hurricane Pro or HD, to let you know when it's happening. Thursday night, 7 o'clock. It'll also be on our Facebook page, too. Everything related to us is at Hurricane Track, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. Alrighty, well, that's it. A nice calm week ahead, it looks like, in the tropics, which is great news. We know sooner or later things will pick up, and we'll have a lot more to talk about. Until then, have a great rest of your Monday. Thanks, as always, for tuning in. Myself and the folks at Hurricane Pro and HD appreciate it. I'm Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com and Hurricane Pro and HD, and I'll talk to you, well, of course, Thursday live, and then again here next Monday.